Extra, read all about it. Today on Oh the Humanities, we give you the exclusive scoop. Word on the street is some of yous want to learn how to write the news. Well, we are here to give you the tricks of the trade. When 5 minutes are up, you're going to be a bona fide journalist. I'm Mr. Mellow, and today we're learning about the news. And doesn't everybody love to follow the news? The case can be made that we could all stand to learn a bit more about the news. Not just following it, but actually learning how journalism is made so that when we follow current events, we can do so with more understanding. I mean, the news landscape right now has so much content that it can be overwhelming. All these different outlets are competing for our attention, for our clicks, and it can be a real problem sometimes. I mean, when I was looking up example headlines and example articles for this video, these were the results that came up. We've got the X best ways to get blank without blank. You're running out of blank. We need to talk about blank. You'll be blank if you miss this guide to blank. We've got 21 viral headline examples. And let's not forget, 10 article headline examples that got us 10 million readers. It seems like most of these sources aren't trying to teach us journalism, they're trying to teach us clickbait. So how can we cut through the clickbait and work towards a journalism that is truly informative, stories that are truly newsworthy? Now, I'm perfectly aware of the irony. I mean, trying to exist on YouTube, I also have to make my titles as clickable as possible. But let's imagine we're in a perfect world, and let's try to learn how to write journalism the right way, not competing for monetized clicks, but by reporting on issues that matter to people's lives. So let's say you're a reporter. How are you going to decide what your story should be about? What makes a story newsworthy? Well, let's consider these 6 newsworthiness factors. Our first newsworthiness factor is called timeliness. I mean, it's called news, not olds. So if you ran a story about the ancient Roman Empire, that would be a little confusing for readers who open up the paper expecting to read a story about today, or at least the past week or so. The next factor, the second factor, is called widespread impact. This has to do with how many people your story affects. Now, if your story takes place in New York City, a city with millions of people, that's probably going to be more newsworthy than something that takes place in a very small town in a rural area with a lower population. However, that ties into our third factor, proximity. How close is the story? Yeah, if something takes place in New York City, that's going to be relevant to those New Yorkers and probably lots of people elsewhere because of the widespread impact. But you take that same small rural town with a lower population and you put a story that took place in that town in their local paper, that's going to be relevant to those people there because it's so close by, because of their proximity. Fourth, we have uniqueness. How unique is your story? How similar is it to other stories that are being run? Because people don't want to read the same story over and over and over again. Then it's not really new, is it? Our fifth factor is human interest. That's a story with emotional impact that is going to make the reader feel something. You might have a story about a family going through a very difficult struggle that could be relatable for people. You might have a profile on some very cute animals doing some cool or heroic things that will make people weep with cuteness. Our sixth factor is compelling video or photographs. Now, if a story has some footage or a striking photo to go with it, people are going to be more interested and drawn into that story. I mean, look no further than renowned journalist J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man universe, who he doesn't want to run a print story that's all words about Spider-Man. He's only interested in getting those pictures of Spider-Man on his desk from Peter Parker. Only with those compelling photos in hand will he publish anything to do with Spider-Man. With these 6 newsworthiness factors, you'll be able to choose topics in journalism that appeal to your audience. Wouldn't it be great if reporters could write about the things that matter instead of having to engineer as many clicks as possible? It didn't used to be as much of a problem because you can't click a newspaper. So my recommendation for you today on how to make this problem better, go buy a copy of your local paper. Try for a local one that hasn't been bought up by a national or international corporation. And while you're at it, if you want to learn more about writing, reading, and more, subscribe to The Humanities. I've been getting a lot of comments that there's not nearly enough Franklin in the last few videos, so here we go. We saw him earlier in the video, but here's Franklin reminding you to like and subscribe to The Humanities. We'll see you next time.